We are back with the mock drafts. I did three last year. I may do three this year. I don't know. But this is my first mock draft of the year since free agency is now settling down. There's still some big free agents out there like Jesse Bates, stuff like that. But as always, with you guys, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like and or subscribe. And let me know down in the comments if you guys want more stuff like this rather than just Madden. But with the mock drafts, this is the most raw time of the year because for some reason, everyone thinks that there's some like NFL scout, and it's pretty annoying in my opinion because everyone's saying, oh, well, Caleb Williams, he's going to be a bust because he doesn't have like the mental maturity. Or now they're saying that JJ McCarthy's going to go to number 2 to the Commanders. It's frustrating every year because you have these dumbass people giving these really, really stupid analysis on players and saying, oh, they're just going to be a bust because I said so. Now, whenever I make an opinion, I'm just saying it from what I think will happen. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I just think certain players will look good or look bad based from what I've seen. I'm not an NFL scout in any way. I'm not going to grill players constantly, but sometimes some players just get so much gas to where it's frustrating to make sometimes mock drafts. Like, in my personal opinion, Bo Nix is not a first rounder at all. Not at all. He's a first rounder, and everyone's gassing him up to go to certain players because a lot of teams need quarterbacks. This is a very heavy quarterback class. But in my opinion, every single year they gas up some player who's not going to go in the first round. Last year was Will Levis. I thought he was going to go in the first round, honestly, I'll be real. But some people were saying he was going to go number 4 overall to the Colts. And then we had Malik Willis. He was gassed up. I thought he was going first round too. Fell to the third round for good reason because Malik Willis is not good in the NFL. But for this mock draft, don't want to keep rambling too long, don't want to hold you guys here. I'm going to start this and try to just dig through it as best I can. Number 1, it's going to be Caleb Williams. Obviously, this is the unanimous pick for everyone. And I think it's so stupid that Bears fans complain about getting a Heisman winner. We want Fields. We want Fields. Last year, you had the number 1 pick. You could have gone CJ Stroud. You said, let's actually build around Fields. Get DJ Moore, got Darnell Wright, very good moves. They built around him. They gave him another year. He had an increase of production, but it's not what they want to see from their franchise guys. So they moved on. I think it was completely the correct move from the Bears to move on because you're not going to get another chance to get this number 1 pick. You got really lucky that the Panthers just tried to rush through Bryce Young's development. They should have started Andy Dalton through and through that year. He looked better on the field anyways. So they're really lucky that they got this number 1 pick, and Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 pick. Number 2, it's Drake May. As I said before, some people are saying Jayden Daniels here, which isn't the worst argument ever. I think Drake May is just a better prospect despite Jayden Daniels winning the Heisman. Also, some people are saying J.J. McCarthy. Insiders are saying J.J. McCarthy to 2. The Commanders would shoot themselves in the foot and just, they love self-destructing their franchise. So if that happened, that would be a Commanders move. But realistically, they should go with Drake May here. I think these should be unanimous 1s and 2s. But every year, just like I say, some people gas up players that should not receive gas. It's crazy. But anyways, number 3, the Patriots. My personal opinion, you should build around the QB, get Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be an amazing player in the NFL. Ohio State is wide receiver university. Everyone knows this. Marvin Harrison Jr., son of a former NFL players. Whenever you have sons of former NFL players or families of NFL players, they just have the genetics. Like whenever someone says they're an NFL talent, that's a real thing. You can have all the work ethic in the world. Some people just don't have the talent to be in the NFL. You can work head to toe, day and night. It's still going to be a very, very minimal chance that you ever make the NFL. Talents are just talents. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is what should be the pick for the Patriots, but I think they're going to go with Jayden Daniels instead and try to force this here if I can find him on this board. Did I pass him? Yeah, I must have passed him. Where'd he go? Am I blind? Do I seriously have to search up Jayden Daniels? He's at rank 22 on PFF's board. I still think Jayden Daniels is going to be 3 here because I think they're going to try and force a QB into a situation here, even though Marvin Harrison Jr. should be the pick because you should build around a quarterback before you put the quarterback in that situation. But I still think this is what will happen, not what should happen. There's a clear difference. Now I'm going to actually try to move through these picks a lot quicker. I know I did a lot of explaining before. May seem boring. Then Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not a debate here. Not a debate here either. Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, either one at 5 for the Chargers would make sense. A lot of people are saying Brock Bowers. They just signed Will Dissly and Hayden Hurst, so I don't think they're going to go with that just because they are filling up on the tight end position. And trading away Keenan Allen for a 4th-round pick, really stupid move by the Chargers. I know some people are going to be like, oh, they had to deal with the cap situation. They were in positive cap once they cut Mike Williams. And Joey Bosa has been injured for the past 2 years. He's consuming so much cap. Same thing with Khalil Mack. He's aging, but at least he's actually putting up numbers for the Chargers. I'm not saying Bosa's a bad player. I'm just saying he's injury prone. He had a high cap hit. And unlike Keenan Allen, he was putting up numbers. Keenan Allen had over 100 receptions, over 1,200 yards, I think. He had an amazing year with the Chargers this year. Still looks like he's in his prime, and they traded him away for a 4th-round pick because of a cap situation. And they asked him to take a pay cut. He said no. They traded him. Stupid move. Really, really bad move from the Chargers to take away the top receiver from Justin Herbert. But anyways, not going to grill the Chargers anymore. The Giants... Some people are saying Joe Alt here, but I think they need receiver. They literally have not had a receiver, like a real wide receiver one, since they traded away Odell. And let me think about that before someone grills me in the comments. I think I'm right about that. I don't think they've had a real wide receiver one since Odell. I mean, yeah, they signed Kenny Golladay, and then he was absolute shit. I remember when Kenny Golladay was actually good on the Lions. Joe Alt, Titans need... tackle here. I don't really think there's any debate to this. Some people may say wide receiver. D-Hop put up nice numbers last year. You can still argue that you're developing Treylon Burks, but he honestly does not look good in any way, shape, or form. Falcons here, I think they are going to go with an edge rusher here, and I think Dallas Turner will be the best edge rusher on the board here. I know they have Jared Verse. Did they have him above Dallas Turner? They might not have. I think actually Dallas Turner was above him. I think Dallas Turner is going to be sick. And then the Bears here. Now that they got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, some people could say Brock Bowers. I think Cole Kmet is a very, very solid tight end for the Bears. I don't think that's a position of need for them. I think a position of need is this D-line, and I'm going to go with Jared Verse here to the Bears. I think interior defensive line, Byron Murphy or Jerzon Newton, not Zerzon. Jerzon Newton out of Illinois is an option as well at the interior defensive line because they also did get Montez Sweat. But Jared Verse as another edge rusher for the defense because everyone's complaining all the time about Justin Fields saying, oh, he doesn't have weapons, the offensive line, his coaching's bad, his defense is bad. You need to build around this guy. And now Caleb Williams, they got him. They built around him. Now they need to fix the defense a little bit. I think Jared Verse would be a better pick than going with wide receiver here, which still is listed as a need for some reason on PFF. It's not. But for the Jets here, I think they already have a great defense, of course. Rodgers needs to stay healthy. It says they need wide receiver, but if you have a prospect on here, like Brock Bowers on the board, and you do have Tyler Conklin, I believe is their starting tight end, who isn't bad for sure, but Brock Bowers being the amazing prospect that he is. Some people say he's a generational tight end. I think the word generational is thrown around way too much. Generational means once every 15 to 20 years. We threw around generational with Caleb Williams. We throw around generational prospect with Trevor Lawrence. I remember people saying that. I mean, there's hype about him ever since his freshman year in college. And then Brock Bowers, they're saying he's generational. You said the same thing about Kyle Pitts. Generational. Stop throwing the term around so much. I think maybe you can argue Caleb Williams being the generational prospect with the numbers that he put up. But Brock Bowers, stop with the generational talk, guys. But anyways, Vikings on the board. Some people will say they will reach for a QB here. I think they have another pick here. They could trade both the picks to trade up. And by the way, I know it's really late in this draft to say this. I'm not doing trades. I think it's way too complicated to predict that. So for right now, I think the Vikings, after losing their edge rusher, they need to go defensive line here. Yes, I know that I just said they lost their edge rusher. They could go Laiatu Latu here out of UCLA. I think that's too far of a reach down the board. So I'm going to go with Byron Murphy. That interior defensive line has been bad, really bad in their last years, but they still need to help with their defense overall before they can fix some of their offense. For the Broncos, I do think they will reach here. As much as I hate McCarthy in the first round, I don't think he's a first-round pick in my personal opinion. Oh, he's a winner. He won the national championship. Yeah, so did Stetson Bennett. All right, it doesn't mean he's a good player. All right, I think they will reach here. It's not about what I think they should do. I think it's what they will do. J.G. McCarthy, I think the Broncos will reach, or if not, trade up for a QB. Raiders on the board here. They would have gone J.J. McCarthy too. A lot of teams are just QB hungry, but with the Raiders. Cooper DeJean, Quinnen Mitchell. They do need DB here. It says they need running back. They did sign Alexander Madison. Not crazy. Defensive line here. Newton wouldn't be bad, but they did just get Christian Wilkins for their interior defensive line. They're trying to develop Tyree Wilson. They got Max Crosby, of course. I think they will go with the secondary here, and I think that is going to be Cooper DeJean of Iowa. I think that's a good choice for them. And then finally, well, not finally, we are at the Saints here. QB, wide receiver. They're not going to get out of Derek Carr's contract, so much in negative cap debt. They could go offensive tackle here because Trevor Penning, I mean, yeah, they picked him last year, but we don't know about him. Ryan Ramczyk is aging. They need defensive line. They did pick up Brian Brzee last year. They're aging with Cam Jordan. They're aging with their other defensive lineman. I forgot who it was. Oh, no, they're not eight. I forgot that Marcus Davenport doesn't play for the Saints anymore. That was so long ago. I don't know how I just blanked on that. They could go with interior defensive line here. That wouldn't be crazy. Offensive tackle seems the most likely. DB wouldn't be a bad choice here either. But I think I am going to go with the defense here. I think Newton, very underrated prospect. He's going to be very, very good. Pairing him with Brian Brzee for that interior defensive line is going to really help. So he's going to be at pick 14. Pick 15, I think the Colts are going to have to go with the DB here. A lot of people are looking at Quinnen Mitchell. I don't know the hype around him because I'm going to be real. As I always keep it real on this channel, I didn't watch any Toledo games last year because, it's Toledo. I don't care. So Nate Wiggins or Teron Arnold would be the pick here, and I think I'm going to go with Teron Arnold here out of Alabama. Very, very nice prospect. I think he's better than Nate Wiggins, and from what I know, he's better than Quinnen Mitchell. Obviously, I know nothing about Quinnen Mitchell, but PFF apparently has him really high on their board. I don't know if he's going to go that high, though. A lot of teams are going to want the more competitive schools than Toledo. I'm not saying just because you're from a lower school that you're a bad player. I'm just saying more competitive schools will get a lot more hype. Then for the Seahawks here, I think they're going to go with edge rusher here, Laiatu Latu. And as some people may say that's crazy, you only have a Uchenna Nwosu on that edge. That interior defensive line could be fixed, but Newton went off the board a little bit early, and there's not really good interior defensive linemen here until further down the board, like Braden Fisk out of Florida State. But for right now, Laiatu Latu, pairing him with Uchenna Nwosu, I think they do need an edge rusher on that defense, even though it's already really, really good because their secondary is really nice. But Laiatu Latu. And then for the Jaguars here, they need corner, guard, center. I'm going to take center here, Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Burger Boy is his nickname. I love that nickname. Burger Boy to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need to fix some of that interior offensive line. It's not atrocious for sure, but it could use a little bit of help. And Jackson Powers Johnson does look very nice for a prospect. And then right here for the Bengals, they did pick up Trent Brown. They have Orlando Brown Jr. Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure they signed him to a 3-year deal last year. Did they not? Pretty sure they did. But anyways, they did sign Trent Brown recently. I don't think they're going to go with tackle here. It's only a 1-year deal. But tight end could be an option. They're losing T. Higgins. They could go with another wide receiver here. Another LSU wide receiver. I think I might go with that, actually. They could use a safety in Tyler Nubin. Don't really need... it says they need interior defensive line. But, yeah, man. Braden Fisk wouldn't be the worst option here, but I think it would be kind of a reach, a little bit too early for him. Honestly, T. Higgins is on the trade block. They have Jamar Chase, and they lost Tyler Boyd, did they not? They might have lost him, but either way, I still think they're going to need another receiver. May seem like a crazy pick, but with the way this board's fallen, I think I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr., another LSU wide receiver, to pair with Jamar Chase, since, of course, the Clemson guy, T. Higgins, has requested a trade. So Brian Thomas Jr. to the Bengals. Pick number 19 for the Rams. I did this in one of my rebuilds. I think it is definitely a viable option after losing one of the greatest, if not the greatest, defensive player of all time in Aaron Donald. Some people say it's Deion Sanders, Lawrence Taylor. Purely opinion, one of the greatest defensive players of all time, Aaron Donald. They need to fix that defensive line. Chop Robinson out of Penn State. Freak athlete, super good. He may seem a little bit underweight here, a little bit undersized, but I think so is Aaron Donald. They said he was a little bit undersized for a defensive tackle, being 6'1", but he is very, very athletic. Chop Robinson to the LA Rams. Pittsburgh Steelers here, I think they do need to go with offensive line because, they're going to complain constantly throughout this year that, oh, Justin Fields doesn't have an offensive line. Oh, well, Vic, actually, Russell Wilson is the starter for the Steelers. He's going to be benched by week 5, all right? I trust me when I say that he is not going to be the starter the whole year. He's going to throw 2 or 3 interceptions in a game. Then the Steelers fans are going to be chanting, "We want Fields." But I know Quinn and Mitchell really sliding down this board. They did pick up Dante Jackson from the Panthers. They did fix a little bit of their secondary. I think they do need to go with an offense here, and I think it's going to be an offensive lineman. Zach Frazier out of West Virginia at the center. They would like Jackson Powers-Johnson if he did fall there, but this may seem like a reach, but I do think they do need the interior offensive line to be helped a little bit. It says they need offensive tackle. They got Broderick Jones last year. Now, I know a lot of these tackles are sliding here, but this is where I'm going to take one. Guy out of Oregon State. He's going to the Dolphins. They do have Teron Armstead. They do need to fix their offensive tackle on the right side here. And I know he may play left tackle, but for right now, this is what we're going to go with. And then the Eagles, they love going with their defensive linemen. They could go receiver here. I think this is where Quinn and Mitchell's slide is going to stop because finally they do need another DB to pair with Darius Slay. They did lose Avonte Maddox, and I think they're pretty thin at the position for DB. Pick 23 here. The Vikings on the clock. I think they're QB desperate, and if I can find him here, where'd he go? Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. I think he would be so sick here. I don't think, even though I love him as a prospect, I don't think he's going to go in the first round, but at the same time, I think, again, teams are QB greedy here, and I think Michael Penix to the Vikings, especially since they did trade up for another pick here. Michael Penix to the Vikings. And then Dallas here. They need a lot of things. I'm going to go with offensive tackle. They did just lose Tyron Smith, however you say it. Either way, need an offensive tackle. Simple as that. And then on the clock is the Packers. They need receiver every single year. I mean, sure, Jaden Reed had a great year. They still need more receivers to help Jordan Love. He still balled out. But of course, they're going to go with defense, though. They're just going to give him the finger and just say, we're going to do whatever we want. But at the same time, with these offensive tackles still on the board, I think I am going to go with one. They did just lose David Bakhtiari. I'm going to go with the guy out of Penn State. Buccaneers on the clock. They just lost Carlton Davis. I think they should go Nate Wiggins here, especially since he fell this far to pick number 26 to the Buccaneers. And then finally, I keep saying finally, dude. I should say finally for the Chiefs. But anyways, for the Cardinals, they did pick Marvin Harrison Jr. They did get Paris Johnson Jr. They did just cut their current left tackle. So they could go with another tackle here, especially with the way the board has fallen here. And I think I might do that. They could use a DB, but with the way these tackles are still on the board, I'm going to take J.C. Latham here out of Alabama. They need a left tackle. They did cut their current left tackle. I forgot his name because I'm blanking on it. Paris Johnson Jr. is playing right tackle. So for right now, J.C. Latham out of Alabama to help Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. on that offense. The Bills here, they need DB really desperately, I would say, after losing, after losing Trey White. They could go with a receiver here. I think they will go with a DB. It's going to be Kool-Aid McKinstry here out of Alabama. I think he may go a little bit higher than this. Sick name, Kool-Aid. But for the Lions on the board, not going to go with offensive line. Their offensive line is actually pretty sick. Safety, I think Brian Branch is sick, even though he does play nickel corner a lot. I don't think they're going to go with linebacker. Jack Campbell did pretty nice last season. They're not going to go with wide receiver. Go with Bo Nix, baby. He's the future. So with here, Braden Fisk out of Florida State, interior defensive line to help overall. And of course, you have Aiden Hutchinson on the line. That's very nice. Romeo Okwara did retire in real life. He wasn't that amazing anyways, but I think the interior defensive line needs help. Very athletic guy out of Florida State. He's going to be an amazing edge rusher interior-wise. Not really a run stopper, but pass rushing-wise, he's going to be really, really nice. Braden Fisk out of Florida State. I'm a Florida State fan. Watched him. He was sick. But for the Ravens, my team, I know some of you guys may be like, you're a Baltimore fan and a Florida State fan. That does make sense. I live in Florida. I've been a Ravens fan because of Ray Rice. I'm not joking about that either. When I was a kid, I was a big Ray Rice fan. So, yeah, before he hit his wife. So I have a Ray Rice jersey before he hit his wife. So it makes it antique and it makes it like baller. I'm really cool for that. But, anyways, for the Ravens, they need DB in the first round. I know everyone's going to point receiver. They could go receiver. If Kool-Aid McKinstry fell to the Ravens at the 30, that would be really nice. TJ Tampa, don't really know anything about him, if I'm being honest. Don't really watch Iowa State games. Mike out of Michigan could be the guy. it. But from the DBs on the board and the way it's fallen, I know I just said I don't want receiver, but I think Troy Franklin is a pretty sick receiver. I might do that. A lot of people are going to be looking at Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. McConkey, my bad, not McConkey, McConkey. If I said that wrong, sorry. But Troy Franklin, I think he's sick. I like him. I'm going to go with the Ravens just because the way the board fell. If Kool-Aid McKinstry was there or another really nice DB was there at 30, I think the Ravens should go with DB because whenever we lose Marlon Humphrey on the field, our DBs are terrible. It's a very, very bad situation. Then for the Niners, their O-line, other than, why am I blanking? We all know who I'm talking about. One of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. I'm blanking so hard. You guys know who I'm talking about. The left tackle for the Niners. I'm sorry for blanking. They still need to go with offensive line. Going to go with the right tackle here. I don't know if he plays right tackle or left tackle. Still need an offensive tackle. Still need help with the offensive line. Going with the tackle, Mims out of Georgia. And then finally, for the Chiefs, they need to go receiver. Their receiver play was atrocious last year. But I think everyone I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. Xavier Worthy or Xavier Leggett would be sick. After what he just ran, I highly doubt there's going to be a team. There's going to be no teams that don't take him in the first round. So with the Chiefs at 32, they need a receiver. They got the Georgia receiver out here. They also got Xavier Leggett on the board, who was really nice. Keon Coleman as well. But I think Xavier McKinnon, I don't think he's going to fall out of the first round just because of that receiver speed. This is my first mock draft. Please don't grill me if it's the worst thing in the world. No, PFF, I don't want to see your ads. Please analyze my draft a little bit faster. That would be pretty cool. But this is what we got here. I'm going to zoom out on my PC here, on my laptop. But this is what we got overall. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think my top 5 is right, or how it should be, but I don't know if it's going to be what it will be. Maybe Jaden Daniels at 2, Drake May at 3. I think the Patriots just will force the QB, even though I do think they should go with Marvin Harrison. But overall, I don't think it's a bad draft with the way the board fell, and I think I like this, but let me know how you guys rate it from a scale of 1 to 10 down in the comments below. And apart from that, guys, I thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.